get this thing rolling. On a Friday, as Glass is in session, we go to the Glasser guest line and check in with Shane Jackson, who is a Friday regular here on Send It In, web content writer for BetMGM. Make sure you guys give Shane a follow at by Shane Jackson. And Shane, let's dive into the NBA, man. We got a really good slate tonight on this Friday. Probably the best game is going to be between the two best teams in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics and the Cavs. A lot of people probably feel like this certainly could be an Eastern Conference final preview. Boston, a 2.5-point favorite with a total of 233.5. What do you like in this game tonight?
Yeah, it probably is going to be the best game tonight, and I would bet on defense in that regard. I like under 233.5 for this game. I expect intensity to be up for both teams on that end of the floor. I project it to be closer to 230, and the last two head-to-head matchups between these two teams have finished under the total. They scored 217 on February 4th when the total was 237.5, and then they scored 226 on December 1st when the total was 228.5. Cavs have been the number 3 defense over the past 2 weeks. Celtics have been an elite defense all year. I'll back defense in this matchup.
I like it. Yeah, especially you would expect a high-intensity game tonight, again, with those two teams going at it. Shane, then I'm really looking forward to this one. We got two of the hottest teams in the NBA and the hottest team in the league in the Detroit Pistons coming off a win against Boston. They've won 8 in a row, going up against Jokic and the Nuggets tonight. Pistons are a home favorite, 2.5 points against Denver. Does this feel like a sell high, though, on Detroit, or do you like them to continue rolling tonight against Denver?
That's exactly how I would phrase it. Sell high on the Pistons, buy low on Detroit. I'm taking the Nuggets money line. The Nuggets are a league best 10-1 on the second night of back-to-back. They were laying 3.5 against the Milwaukee Bucks last night before a poor shooting night led to a loss there. I know a lot has changed in since then, but they were a 6-point home favorite against the Pistons when these two teams met on December 28th. I think there's value in selling high on the Pistons and buying low on the Nuggets.
Shane, what do you make of this Pistons team when we get into playoff time, right? I think everybody expects that the Eastern Conference representative for the finals is either going to be Cleveland, Boston, maybe the Knicks. But, outside of those three teams, do you think Detroit is the team that maybe could be like last year's Indiana team that kind of made it to the Eastern Conference finals, had a great run? Do you see them potentially being that team this year?
I really do like the Pistons, and we do see a surprise team every year. It feels like it makes the conference finals that no one was expecting over the last several seasons, but I would be really surprised if that is the Pistons. I think Detroit could win a series, but the East feels way too top heavy to bank on a conference finals run. That doesn't mean that this wasn't a good year, because it objectively was a great year to go from the league worst record to what they are now. Cade Cunningham right now is in the driver's seat for most improved player. I know that's going to lead to some outrage as a former number 1 overall pick, but he follows familiar pattern. 7 of the last 8 MIP winners were first-time All-Stars. I would keep an eye on Norman Powell, but he's been out since the break, and if he misses 4 more games, he's ineligible. So if he doesn't return this week against the Lakers, I could see him being out of the running. And then, J.B. Bickerstaff, probably a runner-up and coach of the year behind Kenny Atkinson. So very great year all around for the Pistons, even if it leads to maybe one series win at the most.
It really is incredible. They lost, 27 games in a row or whatever it was. So the turnaround that they've had this year has been awesome. So, Shane, we get those two games, Celtics, Cavs, and then Nuggets, Pistons. And then we get Grizzlies home against the Knicks tonight, which should be a really good one. Memphis has taken some money this morning. They've gone from 3.5 to 4.5 point favorites. High total in this game at 244.5. Did you do anything in Grizz and Knicks tonight?
Yeah, I'm really interested in this game in the sense that the Knicks haven't really leveled up against the elite competition. They're 0-7 against the Thunder, the Cavs, and the Celtics. Obviously, the Grizzlies are not in that category, but they're still a good measuring stick for the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson maybe is coming back this weekend, which could be huge help for the rebounding department and the interior defense. But from a betting perspective, I like Jaren Jackson Jr. over 1.5 3-pointers. You mentioned it. It could be a track meet. Total 244.5. There's a chance that this is up and down the court. Jackson, against the drop coverage against the Knicks, is going to get plenty of 3-point attempts. And he's averaging 2.1 3-pointers on about 5 attempts per game this month. So I like Jaren Jackson Jr. to hit multiple 3-pointers against the Knicks tonight.
All right, very good. Anything else you like in the NBA tonight, Shane? Any sides, totals, props that you're riding with?
Yeah, I normally try to stay away from sides, but this does feel like a scheduled loss for the Los Angeles Lakers against the Clippers. So I would take Clippers money line. Rui Hachimura got injured last night. It looks like he's probably going to be out. Luka hasn't played on a back-to-back since joining the Lakers. Vando hasn't played on a back-to-back since returning. LeBron at 40 tweaked his hamstring a little bit last night. He's questionable for tonight's game. So all of this is adding up to maybe a scheduled loss for the Lakers, especially since they play the Clippers again later this weekend. So, yeah, I'm taking the Clippers money line, and I wouldn't mind the spread either.
All right, there you go. A lot of good stuff there from Shane Jackson. Shane, before we let you go, I do want to get your thoughts on baseball as we are in the middle of spring training right now. Opening day is going to be here before we know it. We're talking about the AL West. We talked about Seattle yesterday. We're talking about the Astros on the show today. A lot of people think Texas is going to have a bounce-back season. Who do you see winning the AL West this year?
Yeah, I'm with everyone else. I really do like the Texas Rangers. I think there's value, and they're plus 210 odds to win the AL West. As one of my favorite division futures, I think they end the Houston Astros' reign in the AL West this year. A lot of projections are on their side as well. Pacoda projects 90.2 wins and a 45.8% chance of winning the division for the Rangers. Fangraphs also favors the Rangers, giving about a 33.6% chance. Either way you slice it, there's value on the Rangers winning the AL West. They're essentially running it back from last year's roster and banking on better health, but that's not a bad bet to make for a team that's 2 years removed from winning the World Series. I think this lineup has a lot of potential, especially if Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford take another step in their second year after being Rookie of the Year favorites in the preseason last year. So I'm all in on the Rangers. I do think it's going to be a competitive division, and the Astros certainly aren't going anywhere, but I think the Rangers have tremendous value at their current odds.
Yeah, I'm with you. Plus 225 to take Texas to win the AL West. Have you done anything in the futures market yet, Shane? Whether it be team, a team future that you like, a player award that you like. Have you bet anything so far?
Yeah, staying in that same division, I do like Julio Rodriguez to an AL MVP. It was the first awards future I clicked in the offseason at 40-1 a couple months ago. It's now down to 22-1, which is still a value to me because Julio Rodriguez was the most popular preseason AL MVP bet last year at 10-1. He had a slow start and then dealt with injuries last year, but I mean, he was popular for a reason. He finished fourth in the MVP race in 2023. He led the AL in WAR the second half of the season, and this award has typically gone to a person who has led the league in WAR. And Julio obviously has defensive value in his position in center field. So right now, projections have him as the third best value in WAR. I think that was oopsie at Fangraphs. So obviously at 22-1, he's an intriguing long shot for me. And then I mentioned it a couple weeks ago on this show, but I still like Alex Cora to win AL Manager of the Year for the Boston Red Sox at 7-1. Every winner in this market has made it to the postseason since 2012. Of those 26 winners, 22 of them were on teams that didn't make the playoffs the previous year. So essentially, you're betting on the team that you think is going to surprise. And for me, I think that's the Boston Red Sox. They have plenty of upside, but also they have a path to the playoffs, even if they don't win the division, which is very competitive. So those are my two favorite futures right now, and I'll certainly add some more in the coming weeks.
Love it. Shane Jackson. Make sure you guys are following him on X at @ByShaneJackson, web content writer for BetMGM, joining us each and every Friday here on Send It In. Shane, always appreciate the insights, sir. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again next Friday.
Yeah, thanks for having me. See you next week.
Absolutely.